Good morning, our beloveds. Today we're going to divert from the usual beat the horse to death path and take you on an excursion of what it is to dream. When you were 2 or 3 years old, under most circumstances, but not all, you still had the ability and the curiosity to dream and to imagine. When you played with a plastic truck or a Barbie doll, you actually became that character and created in your mind's eye what that storyline looked like that you were playing out. Try to see if you can remember. Because when you grow up and you look at those toys that you played with, they don't have the same luster and color and vibrancy that you recall when you were younger. So how is it possible that the storylines that you played out in your mind's eye were not in the real 3D, but merely by you holding 2 or 3 items in your hand and moving them about, talking out loud or talking in your mind, and creating the play called the life of these characters? It may have been trucks, it may have been dolls, it may have been toys of any sort. If you live in a poorer community, it could be sticks or rocks or flowers, anything that helps you to create an imaginary story. You're beginning to see how the playing out of your life sometimes is rather flat, lusterless, bland, filled with stress, chaotic, not what you had hoped, not what you had envisioned, and not what you want. Most of you are lonely and alone in your world, even though you may have hundreds and hundreds of people around you. And now that we have pulled you into this COVID crisis, wherein many of you have had a vast shift in the flow of your lives, you're now beginning to slow down in some instances and begin to breathe, rest from the craziness called your life, appease the gods in some ways by walking your dog, talking to your kids, and figuring out what you had been too busy to tend to before. And now here you are sitting saying, what now? So you can use the same part of your brain that got you to where you're at now, but from a younger version's perspective. But the protocols that you apply are the same. Or alternatively, you can go back to that methodology of creating a vibrant, cartoon-like story in your head where the Barbie doll can jump from the roof and dive into the pool or land on the horse or whatever. You can make her levitate. You can make her move from one part of the world to another just by you picking her up and placing her in the new place. It's that simple. Your imagination allows you to create the storyline in your head first. And then as you get older, you can begin to play it out in real life, because the dominoes fall in succession. When you use this part of your imagination, you literally are setting up all of those dominoes to create the beautiful viral experience of watching the first one start, an energetic moment that will ripple through time and space. And then it is done. It may take months and years for you to set up this type of Goldberg rubric system. But at the end of the day, it is the enjoyment of watching all the dominoes fall, or whatever it is that you use. But the point of today's message is, it may take you 3 years to set the system up behind the scenes. No evidence that anything is going to happen other than the backroom effort. And you don't see the creation of what you have built, of what you have created, of what has transpired until you hit that first domino. And then, boom, it's done within minutes, or maybe even seconds, depending upon how detailed it was. This is what we're trying to focus you guys on, your attention. You keep thinking manifesting is that you are magic, and you say, I have a boat, and you blink your eyes and there is a boat in front of you. No, we're not talking about manifesting in the material through the intentions. What we are talking about is creating something through your intention, and then the effort that naturally follows your intention. If you wish to go to college, they're not going to come knocking on your door and offer you a scholarship. You must apply, and you must validate or verify that you are worthy of that scholarship or reduction in fees. You set the intention of where you wish to go, and then you follow through with the breadcrumbs of life, which are required to teach you that the action follows the intention. And the action that follows the intention comes from that spark of inspiration. You will know the day that you are to sit down and magically complete the application for that university, because the energy will flow through you. You will know exactly what to say on your essay. You will be able to make this process move pretty seamlessly, where there will appear to be no roadblocks. And sometimes roadblocks come up to say, not this direction, and other times it is to teach you to find a workaround, because where there is a problem, there is always a solution. So we ask you once again to go back to that magical, imaginary time when you still only lived half here in the 3D and half in the universe, where your mind's eye was so active at creating lucid dreams, if you will, that played out in your mind's eye. You saw them, and it was overlaid with the 3D world. But it was real. Believe that that was real, and not just make believe. Believe that if you had imaginary friends, you did actually connect to something, but you were then told that doesn't exist. It was your imagination. No, it was a creation in the energetic field and not in the 3D field, not in the physical, materialistic field. But just like energy exists in a battery, in a radio, in the space around you that transfers data information past you all day long, there are also souls. There are also spirits. there are also constructs. There are also ideas and belief systems. There are also bubbles of political attachment, religious attachment, philosophical attachment. Whatever you are interested in, you connect to those energies. And when you were a child, you were connected to the innocence of life for the most part, because that part of you had not been damaged or destroyed yet. But with time, you get hardened, you get less optimistic and more pessimistic or negative. That's why the young people believe more in the possibilities of change in the future than the old people, because the old people say, well, it hasn't happened in my lifetime. I don't think anybody can do it. Well, with that attitude, it's never going to happen. And the young people keep coming in and saying, demanding, requiring, expecting change. And you're now beginning to see how some of these young people are bringing about changes, much like during all of the revolutionary times in history. Because the energy right now is ripe for this change. The energy balls that you don't see, that have the ideas and the points of inspiration, are all around you, swirling about. And based on what you think about, what you desire to bring about, based on that magnetic output, you will attract those balls of energy to you, and they will help to fill your database through intuition, through knowing, sometimes through people coming into your life to guide you and to teach you. It is all around you. Believe and live like a young child whose innocence has not been destroyed, taken away, squashed, reprimanded, beaten out of you. All those things. It's still there, but if you don't believe that it's there, it can't connect to you because there's no room in your heart, in your mind, or in your life. And we don't understand sometimes, but what is the risk? What is the harm in viewing this as an experiment and simply just trying something different and giving it a full month, because you know it takes 1 month to create new habits and patterns. Try something for 1 month. Set a timer on your phone to remind you every day that this is something that is important, and do it. If you want to do breath work, set a timer. If you want to go walking so you can just meditate, set a timer. If you want to eat better and focus on plant-based eating or whatever it is, set a timer that is attached to an image of what it is that you desire to bring about. If you want to slim down, put a picture of somebody who looks slimmer. If you want to tone up your musculature, picture yourself or find a picture of yourself when you were healthier. If you want to be something, put it in your mind's eye and remind you every day to focus on that. Even 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour a day, each of those 3 will offer you profound change. Obviously, 1 hour would produce a greater effect or a faster effect than 1 minute. But even that 1 minute, within a week, you might find it's 2 minutes, and then it's 3. But begin by setting the pattern. And we can tell you that breath work and stillness are the 2 things that stimulate that portion of your brain that allows you to create and imagine, because you push out everything that you are distracted by to create a space for creation. And if you know you don't have a deadline or expectations to meet outside of you, only yourself, then you allow yourself the grace to just become this new version of you, the one that feels happier and healthier but it just simply starts with patterns. And when you get frustrated, realize that that is human nature. The one thing that you all are guaranteed of is change. And so as the world around you changes and causes you some difficulties, recognize this is just today, and tomorrow I can start again. And that's it. And that is how you live life, from birth through transition or entry through exit. You literally just focus on one day at a time and one moment at a time, and you set your intentions where you would like to go, and then you go in that direction. And most importantly, and this is where so many of you are frustrated, and we feel and we see the energetic vibration. If you are trying really hard to make something specific happen and it doesn't, it is because the universe does not want you to be there with that particular outcome. What you could maybe do is allow the universe to have a little bit more flexibility, where if you say, I want a car, it's not a red Ferrari, but it is just a car with 4 wheels, an engine, all the safety mechanisms. I ideally would like the Ferrari, but if not, I am open to what the universe offers me right now, because it will get me from here to the next place. That's how you continue to manifest, by being appreciative of the gifts that the universe does not give you, because it is not what you are aligned with, nor is it what your soul wants to implement. Your mind may want that, but your soul says, especially in these times, no, we don't want a Ken. We want a Barbie. No, we don't want a Ken. We want a G.I. Joe. No, we don't want a Cape Cod house. We want a farmhouse in the mountains. It is your soul that is trying to work with your construct right now to help to get you to where you're meant to go. And we have talked about the vibration, and that you all are moving to where the vibration attracts you. Stop using your head to point to the location, and instead use your heart. And once you have chosen it with your heart, then use your head to try to set those dominoes up to go there. But if you keep setting the dominoes up to go where you're not meant to go, it won't work. One of the dominoes will be faced in the wrong direction and will fall flat, but it will not trigger the next one to go down, and so forth and so on. It's your journey to learn how to self-correct at each and every moment. And it is difficult, especially when you're in a room where it's dark, and only every now and then does a match get lit to give you a momentary image of where you find yourself, and then you're in the dark again. But some of you are mastering this because you're allowing the universe to take over more of the decision-making process, and you follow that flow of inspiration more. And when you do that, it's much easier to produce results, because you're allowing us to pull you up the hill instead of you trying to push something up the hill that's not meant to arrive. So that is it for today. We know that you think our messages sound alike, but trust us when we say within each of these messages, there is an embedded vibrational healing that even when you listen to the same thing in your mind over and over again, it changes something within your soul. So for those of you who don't really want to listen to these, just tune them in and then tune them out, meaning you tune in as you're listening, and then your mind goes elsewhere. Your subconscious is still listening. Allow us to play in the background then, even if you have no intention of changing where you're at. The subliminal messages, the vibrational frequencies of these messages change your inner DNA, believe it or not. And with time, it will make a difference. It obviously makes a greater difference if you set the intention and be mindful about the stuff that we're talking about. But even if you don't, it still makes a difference for those of you who have resistance because you don't know how to do this. Then stop trying to do it and just be. Just say, okay, I trust the universe. will bring me where I'm supposed to go and will tell me every day, call this person and do this other stuff. And when you hit a dead end, it is because you're meant to hit that dead end, because you're meant to now veer left, right, or climb over the wall altogether. You give too much power to the dead ends and not enough to the possibilities. So our short message has once again turned into a rambling rant of sorts, as our another sees it. But we use her to share this information with you all. And we just hope that every day one more seed will be planted so that at some point in the future, one more oak tree will grow to the sky, being solid, stable, and produce nuts for the rest of you who desire to be nuts as well. And so it is. Namaste.